Oh, I gotta stop doing that. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're on a roll with these videos tonight, so you're not gonna notice that. But this is Rashawn, and we're gonna talk about cholesterol. The thing that everybody is so scared of in this era. And it's all bullshit. And I'll explain why, ladies and gentlemen. So cholesterol is very important. Okay, very important. It is a precursor to all of your sex hormones. All right, so if, let's say, you're a woman and you grow up and you don't eat a lot of foods high in cholesterol, and you, like I said, grow up and your womanly features are not there, they're not as big as they should be, then you probably didn't get enough cholesterol as a kid, right? If you're, I don't want to say this about myself, but skinny as a motherfucker throughout your time, like me, probably didn't get enough cholesterol, right? Because cholesterol is a precursor to all your sex hormones and other hormones, like testosterone, estrogen, progesterone. It's also a precursor to hormones like cortisol. Now, you always hear about cortisol being bad, but cortisol is a hormone that helps you deal with stress. Obviously, too much of any one hormone is not good, but you've got to have at least some of it, obviously, right? And it helps in the balance of these hormones as well, right? If you're a man, or excuse me, if you're a woman, you don't want to have your testosterone estrogen balance off, or else I'm not going to go there. Also, vitamin D. Vitamin D, its molecular name or whatever it is called cholecalciferol. That sounds a bit like cholesterol, huh? Right? Because if you don't eat fat, don't eat cholesterol, you can pop all the vitamin D pills that you want. Your vitamin D levels aren't going to go up. You know what I mean? And they recently debunked this idea that eating dietary cholesterol increases your serum or blood cholesterol. That's bullshit. So if some moron talks about, oh, eggs are high in cholesterol, I can't have it. Which is one thing I've never understood, ladies and gentlemen. Because eggs have all of the vitamins and minerals. As far as I know, I think the only vitamin it does not have is vitamin C, which, whatever, right? But it has all of these vitamins. But it has cholesterol, and it's like, oh, you can't do that. Doesn't make a damn sense. I eat 2 eggs every day. Eggs are the highest quality of the highest quality of protein you can get. So that's one thing I don't understand. But when it comes to cholesterol, we are scared. They say that your LDL cholesterol, for example, should be below 100, which is bullshit. Okay? And here's what they get mad or get scared of with cholesterol, because they say that cholesterol causes plaque in the arteries and it'll cause you to have a heart attack. So if you do blood work and see that your cholesterol is too high, then they want to do something about it, get you on a statin, all this other bullshit. Well, here is an analogy for you guys, all right? Let's say you're sitting around and all of a sudden a fire breaks out. A fire breaks out in your bookshelf, right? And the fire is very localized, but you quickly notice that the fire is not an electrical fire. So you get a bucket of water and you put out the fire on your bookshelf. Once the fire is gone, you pick up a book. Let's say it's a book that you've been reading for the past couple of weeks, and you really want to finish that book. And it's like, ah, shit, the book is ruined. It's charred and it's wet. Blaming cholesterol for clogged arteries is like blaming the water for putting out the fire. And I'll tell you why. Because the patching up of arteries with LDL cholesterol, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, is an immune response, all right? If your artery gets injured, it has to patch it up. And it patches it up with LDL cholesterol. Well, two things can patch it up. Why do I have this? LDL cholesterol and calcium. Those two things patch up a wounded artery. Now, it's funny because people will talk shit about cholesterol, but they won't vilify calcium. I don't understand that. But LDL cholesterol is the fireman putting the water on the fire. It is not the fire. The fire is excessive sugar and starch. Excessive carbs every day. And I think you know I was going to say that if you know the theme of these videos. Excessive sugar is what messes up your arteries. Chronic excessive sugar messes up your arteries. LDL is only there to patch up the injury. It is the water that the fireman sprays to put out the fire. Whereas chronic excessive sugar consumption is the fire. So I don't understand how that even happened or how we got into this sheet where cholesterol was bad. But we're basically blaming the fireman for what the sugar did. And that also goes to all the morons that say that salt is the reason for heart disease and salt is the reason why your arteries get clogged, which to me, I can't make the connection between that. I understand that salt holds on to water, kind of, but sugar does it magnitudes better, so I don't understand that. But we're not talking about salt. So when it comes to artery injury, right, it really, in my opinion, does not matter what your LDL cholesterol number is. Because your body's going to find some way, if there's an injury in an artery, whether your LDL cholesterol is 80 or whether it's 380, your body's going to find resources in order to patch that injury up. I would almost think that if your LDL is too low, and I'm not basing this off of any science or anything, but I would think if your LDL is too low and your body can't get LDL for whatever reason to patch up that injury, it's going to get calcium. And I would think that calcium is worse than LDL to patch up an arterial injury. Because you know what calcium does, calcify. You don't want your arteries to be calcified, right? That's why there's an argument for people, adults or old people, not to drink milk. Because especially pasteurized milk has calcium. It has vitamin D, which vitamin D increases the absorption of calcium by 20 times. But as far as I know, and I could be wrong, I don't think pasteurized milk has vitamin K2, and vitamin K2 is what takes calcium out of the blood and puts it in your bones where it should be. But that's for another video. We'll talk about calcium another time. But cholesterol is very important, ladies and gentlemen, right? And one last thing before I go. They always talk about how saturated fat is bad for you. Saturated fat is going to increase your LDL. And to that I say, yes. If you eat more saturated fats, your LDL is going to go up. My question is, does that matter? And the answer is no. If you're in the belief that LDL cholesterol is the fireman that puts out the fire of your inflamed artery of whatever it is, or a cut artery or injured artery, then it is only going to patch your artery up. LDL is only going to patch the cut in your artery up if it needs to. If it does not need to, it will not. So all this memery about saturated fat increasing your cholesterol or LDL cholesterol, that is no problem. No problem. Do you know what decreases cholesterol, ladies and gentlemen? If you eat a lot of polyunsaturated fats, if you eat a lot of seed oils, the soybean, the canola, the sunflower, whatever else there is, those decrease your cholesterol, your LDL cholesterol. But do you really want that? You thought you did, but the answer is no. So hey, that is cholesterol, ladies and gentlemen. It is a very important part of our diet and physiology. And if you're scared of it, then stop eating all the sugar. This has been Rajan. We'll see you next